This week on One Crazy Story, comedian Sean Finnerty joins us to talk about the worst friend he ever had.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, so you guys are just, you're just there.
Yeah.
And she looks at her phone.
Yeah, and gets this message.
And then it gets weird, and you don't know why.
Yeah. And then she just starts tears are on that. Yeah, it was fucking weird, right? For the trip, I was like, this will cheer her up with the whole cancer thing, and then boom, dead dog.
The whole cancer thing.
Yeah.
But you're like, just to make this worse. Hello and welcome to another edition of One Crazy Story. I'm your host, Nate Armbruster, and this week I'm talking with comedian Sean Finnerty. Sean Finnerty has an amazing story, and I met him for the first time a couple weeks ago. We did a gig up in the UP, Northern Michigan, the Upper Peninsula. I've done this gig countless times, and every once in a while you get paired up with someone that you've never worked with before, and luckily for me, it was Sean. Sean was amazing, very funny guy, great stand-up comedian, also very cool dude. I'll tell you why he's a cool dude, because he did my podcast after knowing him for an hour or two. So this is a longer episode than usual, but I think every minute counts because Sean has an amazing story, not just the story that we decided to talk about on this episode, but his life in general is just amazing. He's from Ireland, showed up in the United States, started doing stand-up comedy, and the next thing you know, he's doing a gig in Northern Michigan with me. Pretty great. He also has a podcast, and you can check out all of his stuff at seanfinnerty.com. All of that information is in the description to this episode, so if you're listening, well, I guess you are listening because you downloaded this. So, since you're listening, check it out. Go to his website. Go see him live. He tours all over the country. Sean and I had a great conversation. I don't know. I love this episode. I had a blast. So a big thanks to Sean for doing this. I'm going to shut up now, and I hope you all enjoy this. If you haven't yet, share this with your friends. Subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, every platform, any place you can find podcasts. You can find us. Tell all your friends, leave a review, subscribe, and keep in touch. Everything is One Crazy Story or at Nate Comedy on all the social media, or email me directly. Let me know your thoughts at onecrazystory@gmail.com. Now, without further ado, enjoy this week's episode with myself and comedian Sean Finnerty. When I saw that Sean Finnerty was on the show tonight, I didn't even think that you'd be Irish. And by Irish,
of course not.
No, but by Irish I mean from Ireland.
Right.
I was thinking I'm sure he's obviously Irish.
Yeah, his great-great-grandfather came over from Mayo or something. Yeah.
And then I met you and I'm like, who the are you Australian? I'm retarded.
That's
I'm dumb.
Funny, man.
I was like, what is it? I'm like, what is that accent?
Yeah. Also, you did. Yeah, but why would you how could you possibly expect an Irish guy to show up and feature at a casino?
It threw me off so much when I first I was like, you're like, and I'm like, oh man, this is gonna suck following you. I'm like, because that's the thing is people love. It's I don't know.
Yeah.
It's some women, they're I'm a sucker for an Australian accent.
Right.
You're just so much more interesting to listen to.
Yeah, with an accent. Yeah.
Yeah, you just are because we don't hear it.
For sure. It makes me stand out from the run-of-the-mill straight white male.
It does, though. It does. It really does. And I mean, in some ways you have an advantage. I mean, you still got to be funny, and you are. But I just mean
oh, definitely.
And then here I am. Where are you from?
Right.
I'm like, I hear the accent, but sometimes it just doesn't wear off, I guess. I don't know. I mean, you would think after living, my brother and sister-in-law, they lived in North Carolina for a bit.
Yeah.
And to me, there's a noticeable difference in the way they speak because just where I've never really left the Midwest.
Yeah.
Even in Chicago, you can tell the difference between you can tell where some people live based on certain things.
Right.
But you had this you are Irish.
Yeah.
Fucking, you came from Ireland.
7 years ago, I moved over here.
7 years ago. And what was the reason you moved? Because you didn't move here to do comedy. I mean, because Ireland has comedy, right? There's clubs and stuff.
Yeah, listen, this is the crazy thing that we're meeting at a shitty casino gig on the Canada border.
I know, right?
Dude, because I just came back from doing a music festival in Ireland called Electric Picnic, where they have 55,000 people there all weekend camping. And it was amazing. I performed a comedy tent. I'm surrounded by some of the biggest acts in Irish and UK comedy, and getting on basically as one of them. We're all on the same bill. I'm on the same poster as as this guy like Russell Howard's one of the biggest English comedians. David O'Doherty.
Isn't it amazing?
Man.
Don't you find it mind-blowing how so many people in Europe that are they're selling out arenas and shit?
Yeah.
And then you come over here and they're like, who?
I know.
You know what I mean? You're like, you don't know.
Crazy. That's why they're trying to crack in to Netflix now. Like
Netflix does have a great way of getting those. Because you think about people like, why is this Irish dude that I never heard of have a Netflix special? And it's like, well, Netflix is available in Ireland.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I mean? Of course they're going to have, foreign specials.
Yeah,
why wouldn't they? It'd be crazy.
Sense. Jimmy Carr is the one.
Oh, yeah.
now,
Jimmy Carr's great. Yeah. So you're on this huge show, this huge bill with how do you break into that scene? If you started comedy in New York, because I mean, it's hard enough starting in New York.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now you're the Irish guy in New York trying to break into New York comedy scene.
Yeah, I actually started in Orlando, Florida, and then moved to New York.
God damn it,
yeah, Orlando, Florida. So if you think I stand out in Sault Ste. Marie.
So let me get this straight. You moved from Ireland to Florida.
I moved from Ireland to New York, and then I lived in New York for about 15 months, and then me and a friend of mine, Brendan, the guy who actually came with me on this trip, we went on a road trip. We bought a Dodge Ram.
Oh, man.
Fucking conversion van.
Really?
Yeah, and went on a road trip for a month. Went to like Philly, DC, Richmond, Charlotte, Charleston, Savannah, Orlando, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, Key West. And started coming back because we're like, we're not going to live in Key West.
Please tell me that the car just broke down in Ireland.
It broke down outside Orlando. The van broke down outside Orlando, and I was like, fuck it, this'll do.
You're serious?
Yeah, I swear to God. Yeah, it broke down outside Orlando in a place called Vero Beach, and we're like, whatever. Let's just make it to Orlando. And
so you lived in Orlando because of that?
Yeah, because my van broke down there, yeah.
That's crazy, man.
And all these years later, me and Brendan are doing our second road trip around Michigan this time.
Yeah. So what did you think of, so when you came to the United States, had you been here before?
I had, no. So when I moved to New York was my first time coming here, but I came for like 3 months on a student visa, and then I went back and came again for 3 months on a holiday visa, and then I went back again, lived in London for a couple of months while I was waiting for a 1-year visa, and then I came back over again on the 1-year visa, and then I just overstayed that, and I've been here ever since.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So you just like it here?
Yeah, I like it. Yeah.
That's nice to hear when somebody comes. You know what I mean? Because I feel like I don't know. But then again, 7 years ago, people probably thought differently about the United States than they do now.
Right. I'm liking it less with time.
Yeah.
But not that I'm not liking it. I still very much like it here.
Mm-hmm.
But I just I think I miss. I don't know if it's fair to say I'm liking it less. I think I miss Ireland more.
Yeah,
as time goes on.
Well, it's home, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? So like, it's not necessarily it's shitty here,
right?
Because I don't know. I don't think it's that shitty.
It's not shitty,
but it's one of those things that someone from another country. Because I've met people from other countries who would go, "Man, it's nothing like I expected."
Right.
In a good way. They're like, "Yeah, we thought." Like, they had just really violent idea of us.
Yeah. I think I would like America a lot more if I wasn't on social media.
Oh, absolutely. I would. Yeah. And I'm as fucking...
Social media ruins this country for you because it's just like,
really does,
oh, God, here we go. Issues. What side are you on?
Everybody.
Pick.
So but you like it here. You like it here. And now but so you started comedy here.
I started in Orlando 3 weeks after I moved there.
Wow.
Yeah.
And did you always want to try stand-up? Or
always wanted to try it, never knew how.
And Ireland is probably not as accessible.
No,
not the way it is here.
Absolutely.
I mean, everybody does comedy here now.
Yeah. Plus, for me, it was so much easier starting over here because, I feel like Ireland is so small that starting there would be difficult because you kind of be like, oh man, I don't want to. Like, when you're shit, when you're awful, I would not like to be an awful comedian in Ireland.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like that heckling is probably brutal.
Yeah. That'd be an awful place to go through the teething process,
Yeah, you're not kidding. And plus, nobody knows you here.
Yeah.
Because you came here alone?
Yeah.
Just with your buddy?
Came here alone. Yeah. I've a bunch of friends here, obviously. But yeah, I mean, it's... But
that's nuts, man. Just showing up in a country, not knowing anything. Well, not really knowing. Not
really knowing anyone.
Yeah, I mean, you fucking broke down in Orlando and you thought that was a good idea to stay there.
Yeah.
The weather's cool, but like you stayed there for 3.5 years, and then you go to New York.
Yeah, back in New York again.
And so how do you break into the Irish scene, the Irish comedy scene? Would you just go back to visit family? Like, I'm doing comedy now.
So here's how it works for me. I have made some contacts over here. Like, for example, I did Kansas City Irish Fest, which was a great festival.
Whoa. And that's just an Irish festival.
Yeah, yeah. The headliner was a guy called Joe Rooney, who's like a big deal in Ireland.
Wow.
No, but nobody knows him over here. You know, that sort of way.
Yeah.
So he was on a very famous TV show in Ireland called Father Ted, about 3 priests on a remote island. He had a great,
I want to watch this show.
Yeah, it's really good, man. It's so funny. Yeah, it's years. Yeah, and then he was on another like show for years called Killing a Scully. So he's like a big deal over there. So I worked with him here. He liked me. I was like, look, man, you know, anything you can do for me over there. He's like, yeah, absolutely. And he emailed the guy who books this Electric Picnic Festival, and he hit up the booker of the owner of like the main club in Dublin. And yeah, so kind of from there. But it does kind of feel like every time I go home, it up until doing this festival, it has kind of felt like, I'm starting from scratch every time I go home. Because even though the worst shows in Ireland are better than a decent show in America in a lot of cases. All the shows are good for some reason. I've never had a bad show there, but you go away, so you like
you're not hanging out. People forget
out of sight, out of mind. Yeah. But now I'm going home at Christmas, and me and my good friend Colin Tyrrell, who is we co-produce Smack Me Bitch Up. That's our podcast.
Smack Me Bitch Up. Yeah. How's that spelled?
Smack Me M-E.
Oh, so
yeah. Bitch,
so that was
bitch up.
Here I am thinking like,
yeah.
You mean smack my bitch up?
No. Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's what everyone thinks.
Because I'm trying to be like, wait, Nate. He wouldn't call it Smack Me Bitch Up, but I love that. So that's a podcast you guys do?
Yeah, Colin and I, we started it earlier this year. We're up to like 20 episodes, and we just a lot of we open with a sketch, which I like. Yeah. And then we do, which is a good to work on that skill, and then we just mad shit talking. But it's like what it is like
I'll be listening now.
Yeah.
Now that I know you.
Man, that headliner in Sault Ste. Marie. Oh, just bitching about No, it's mostly debate. But we say I don't want to say edgy, because to say.
So what do you do? Take like a topic, like and
yeah,
you just discuss it.
We just try to have our banter and be funny.
Yeah, but little talk show.
Yeah, we definitely make racist and sexist jokes.
That's funny. Is he Irish too?
He is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm in.
We have fun.
Yeah. So the festival in Ireland went pretty well.
It was amazing. Yeah, and so long story short, me and my buddy Colin are doing a tour in Ireland this Christmas. And that's the great thing about Ireland too, is good venues are accessible. So like there's a place in Galway called the Roisin Dove, which is a very famous venue there. Whelan's in Dublin, we're going to be playing that one too. And these are like reputable venues, you know?
Yeah.
Reputable. They're bars, but they're bars with like showrooms and
they're
stuff.
Known for they're entertainment.
They're famous for entertainment, and you can just like if you have the numbers to fill the room, you can just book them and go in and do it.
Hell yeah, man!
So we're doing this tour. We're still finalizing dates, but I'm excited because it'll be my first like proper run. It'll also be my first time doing comedy in my hometown of Longford.
Oh man!
Yeah.
Has your family seen you?
Yeah, my dad's seen me a ton.
Yeah.
Yeah, they come over to the States a good bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was, it's funny because he loves coming to watch me, and he's like super supportive of the fact that I do comedy. He's probably seen me like 25 times. But
it's more than my parents have seen.
Yeah, right. And mine live in a different continent. Get the message, Nate. You could have been a Marine.
Yeah, God damn it. Man. No joke.
Yeah. But the last time he saw me, I think he was a little disappointed with my set.
Oh, yeah? The material, or do you think you just did bad?
The material.
Yeah. Oh, you changed, son.
The material and yeah. Here's what it was, though. But I'm glad, because I got to finally like have a discussion with him that I'd been meaning to have with him. Because here was my thing. It was a nothing gig. and I had Electric Picnic coming up, and I was like, I want to workshop these 2 jokes.
Right.
And I want to see if they're going to be at a level that I can try them out at a bigger show. This gig that I'm doing doesn't pay headliners, so even if I was to come back and headline it, it's of no use to me. You know?
Yeah, you're working. You're like, you're trying to figure out some shit.
I'm workshopping shit.
Yeah.
So I had to explain to him that I don't care about the 25 people in the crowd that night, that I need to work on shit for me.
Yeah.
Obviously, I want them to have a good time. No one goes there with the intention of upsetting people, but I need to look out for my career.
Well, and how bad was it really?
No, it was
I mean, like tonight, it's like, I don't know, how was that? Was that all right? And you're like, yeah. And then everybody comes up like, that was great. And I was like, fucking act like it. Then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you didn't smile once, lady.
Right.
I saw you. You were in the 3rd row.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, don't come up to me.
I was looking right at you.
She went out of her way to tell us how much fun she had. And I was like, that's crazy to me that you just don't. Yeah. But some people some shows are just like that. That's
why you always just act like you're killing.
Yeah.
You know?
Because in their head, they're like, this is the best thing I've ever seen.
Right.
But they don't know last week you played a sold out, theater or whatever. You know?
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Nobody even fucking looked at you as they walked out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's just, but you had to explain this to your dad then.
Right. Exactly. So I think also he just doesn't like dick and sex jokes or whatever. And I was trying to workshop this bit, which I stand by. It's about a friend of mine. It's kind of an Irish saying, really, about like if you're talking about someone ugly.
Yeah.
It's like, I wouldn't fuck her with your dick.
I've heard that.
Have you heard that before?
That is funny.
Yeah. So and the thing is that the whole thing is it's me going like, it's basically an act out of him. Yeah. Like, I wouldn't fuck her with your dick. And I go, that implies that there's someone that he would be willing to fuck with my dick. I just do this whole, Sean, get over here. He's chatting to this girl. He's like, listen, you're a 4. I'm out of your league. However, I think we can make this work.
I got my buddy's dick.
Sean, get over here. And I just start giving myself an imaginary hand job on stage.
That's
I
funny.
go, well, I got to get him hard first.
That's funny. That's like a really weird thing to say.
Right.
But I've never thought that far into it.
Yeah.
No, I think that's hilarious. So your dad wasn't. Yeah. Your dad wasn't as impressed.
I think he thought. But we had a good talk about it, and it was good because he got to understand the process. I was like, you should be more impressed that I went up there and did new shit, because I could have. You have to understand that I know in my head, I've never called him dad before. That was weird. His name's Pat. Anyway.
You don't call your dad dad?
No, I've always called him Pat.
Is that like a thing over there? Like, you just call your parents?
My parents are Pat and Ma'am. But as a comedian, like, the creative process is like, I'm doing this show. It would be so much easier for me to just go up and hit him with the highlight reel, not work on anything. I have a better set. Everyone, so everyone thinks I'm a better comedian, and I get to leave feeling good about the set. But that's not what this is. No. You have to work on shit.
Creatively,
you're just gonna spout the same fucking 10 minutes for your. So like. And I had to explain that to him, like, do you think I want to do worse at these shows? Yeah. I have to work on these things, and I think he got it in the end.
That's good.
Yeah.
Good on Pat, man.
Yeah, good for P.
You mentioned to me after the show about your buddy.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so
I have no other than what you just told me, that's all I know. And I was like, stop right there, because this is perfect.
Okay, great. So
this is exactly what I've been waiting for.
Right, let's get into it. So
we got to. I don't even know how to dive in. I'll just let you start, because I'll just go right ahead.
So okay, wherever. Let's do this. So when I moved to Orlando, I started working at this German restaurant, right? And
bartending.
Yes, yeah, and I became friends with this server who worked there. Her name was Sam, right? So we became friends. We used to go. A bunch of us would go for drinks after work and stuff. And eventually, anyway, we became pretty much like best friends, right, over time. Like she was a nurse, and like the hospital was nearby, but she lived like an hour away, so like she would crash in my place sometimes when she had to get up early to go to the hospital and stuff. And she was also like a fucking really good best friend. Like she was the kind of friend who'd do anything for you. Like I was telling you, I used to be house MC of a comedy club in Cocoa Beach. Every Thursday she would drive me there and back to the gig.
Oh man,
yeah, real good. She drove me one time to Tennessee, 11-hour return trip.
Wow.
When I was hungover,
Jesus.
she just like bring me food and smoothies and shit when I was hungover.
Wow.
Yeah, really good fucking friend.
It's a great friend to have.
You know, and I, for my part, you know, sometimes I'd buy her lunch when it was my turn to pay.
Well, I mean, you know,
she was a better friend than I was for sure.
The thing is, though, if you're able to be that generous financially or whatever, if you're able to give that nonstop, knowing that that person might not be able to afford it, you know what I mean? Like that's the beauty of it is like, you know, that one time you bought her lunch or like that one, you know, that she realizes a good friend would understand how much of a nice gesture that is coming from you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So, you know, you can't, but I understand where you're coming from. Where you're like, Jesus, man, stop it. I feel like now, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, right. I can't do it. Yeah, I can't do this.
It's like, you know, I'm sorry. You know, I'm not, not as fortunate as you are.
Yeah.
Financially.
Well, so she was married, but she always kind of had, like, she always had a thing for me. You know what I mean?
This is why she drove you to Tennessee. And
I wasn't really.
Yeah.
And I kind of felt.
It wasn't mutual.
Yeah, it wasn't mutual. Now I will say we did. She was like, it's an open marriage or whatever. So we did like hook up, here and there, but I was just like, no, look, I'm sorry. I want to be. I want to be friends. I don't want anything else.
But you guys had some. You laid down some rules. Yeah, I
was like, look, I don't want. Honestly, I was like, I don't want to be hooking up. I don't need that.
That just ruins a friendship, you know? Especially a good friendship. You don't want to fuck that up, you know?
Exactly, yeah.
But then it also makes you wonder, like, why is she such a good friend? Is it just because she's trying, you know? Because
I think she kept trying to prove to me how good of a girlfriend she would be.
Right.
Honestly. Because, like, with time or divorce, she ended up getting divorced and stuff.
Yeah.
But
man, it's good that you were able to. I mean, because you meet some people that go through something like that, but they cave. And they're like, well, I guess I'm married to her now.
Yeah.
Because she is so nice. Like, who would want to be with somebody so generous?
And also, I am the kind of person who doesn't like confrontation. So, if you go with something enough, you can just end up, what the fuck?
Just fucking. But that's good. That's good, though. It's healthy that you're able to be like, nah.
Yeah, listen, this is not for me. I don't want this. But also, I'm a very private person. So, I don't tell people about, like, I don't talk about relationships. So, what I didn't realize was, she was just going around telling people that we were dating, like friends of ours, because like all the comedians knew her because she would always hang around the comedy scene, and she was like a very loud and eccentric person, and she always had a crazy story to tell, you know. Well, anyways, so a while passes. We've been friends for maybe probably over a year at this point, and maybe a year and a half actually. And I found out I was doing a gig in New Orleans, a couple of days in New Orleans with a friend. And she called me on the last day of the trip and told me that she had cancer.
Yikes.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, holy fuck. My best friend, this fucking 25, 26-year-old has cancer.
Yeah.
This fucking sucks.
That's brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, in a phone call too. It's like, you're in New Orleans.
Dude, yeah.
You know.
At least it was the end of the trip and not the start.
God, yeah.
But it was still,
especially when you're on the road and then you got to deal with some news like that.
It's not fun.
No.
Yeah, it's kind of it was a real fucking bummer. But then, so as time went on, right after that, we were going on a trip to Ireland for my sister's wedding.
Okay.
I just got my green card, and
she wasn't going.
She was coming with me. Yeah.
Oh.
Because we were friends.
Yeah. But
so
she was like your +1 or whatever.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So so she came with me.
Wow.
And when we went to like the Guinness storehouse. We're at the top of the Guinness. Top of the Guinness storehouse, and she gets a text, from her brother, to say that her dog got hit by a fucking UPS truck and died.
What?
And she's crying at the top of the Guinness storehouse, like trying to hide the fact that she's crying, but crying.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you guys are just. Well, you're just there.
Yeah.
and she looks at her phone.
Yeah, and gets this message.
And then it gets weird, and you don't know why.
Yeah, exactly. And then she just starts like tears are on. Yeah, it was fucking weird, right?
And you're like, great, I'm fucking. Well, like for you,
the trip, I was like, this will cheer her up with the whole cancer thing, and then boom, dead dog.
The whole cancer thing.
Yeah.
You're like, just to make this worse.
Yeah.
But yeah, for you, you're like, at least I'm home. But then also like, great, now I'm home.
Right.
For my sister's wedding, and the woman I brought with me, one of my best friends.
Yeah.
She's horribly sick.
Yeah.
Not just like, but this is like a real shit.
Right. And she was all set to start fucking chemo when she went back.
And the dog. And it's just like, and how much time was left in the trip?
Oh, there was still a good week left. Yeah.
Because you strike me, I don't know many Irish people.
Right.
But so I don't know how it is, but I don't know but how you would react, because I feel like, you're a funny guy, so like, how do you react when you find out her dog had gotten, like, not just died, but like run over by a UPS truck?
Yeah.
Is it kind of like, of course?
It's
how do you
an awkward hug and well, that's shite.
Oh my God.
But so as time goes on, right, she starts radiation,
and
then that's not working. She didn't want to do chemo, and then eventually I remember getting a call from her when I was doing a weekend in Fort Myers, Florida at Belushi's. Used to be they were tied to the Comedy Bar.
Yeah.
It was a great room. I love that room.
Yeah.
It fucking closed down since. But I get a call from her and she's like, look, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do chemo. I can't afford it. I'm just going to die. And I was like, holy fuck. It was so real.
Yeah.
And I went out.
And there's another phone call?
Yeah.
Yeah. And she...
Yeah.
Like, here's the thing, though. I've been blessed enough to not deal with cancer in my life.
Right.
The way some people that I know have had to really deal with some real shit.
Right.
And I'm like, I couldn't imagine... But like, my life.
Yeah.
You're going to call me at 8 o'clock on a Friday? Right before or after I get... Like,
it was right before the
first show. Like, not to
show.
say that you shouldn't call me.
Yeah.
But it's just like, come on.
I'm going to tell you right now, man.
There's a time to call me.
I did 5 shows that weekend, and the first show that night fucking sucked.
Oh, my God.
The other 4 were great. I bombed that show because I was out of it, man. Yeah.
Like, all you can think about is your friend who's sick.
Yeah.
And she's basically telling you, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm giving up.
And so
that's horrible.
So I tried. So basically, I ended up going, look, whatever it is, I'll fucking, if you need money, I'll loan. I ended up loaning her $4,000, right, for hospital bills and stuff, for chemo or whatever. So she was like, okay, I'll get the chemo. So she shaves her head. She has this fucking scar in the back of her head. This is about 11 months. I think it was 11-month mark. And she was, like I said, she was friends with all the other comedians or whatever. Right. And we kind of had a falling out. She was just like, you're not a good friend. You were never here for me, blah, 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 all this, that, and
shit gets real, man.
Yeah. And I was genuinely like, I think my best friend is going to die hating me.
Yeah.
It was so fucking surreal, man.
Yikes,
And so I think I kind of like agreed to loan her like money as part of it was just like as a kind of, look,
before you loaned her the money, she was already like, look, man, you haven't been she started saying all that shit.
Right. You never wanted to be with me. You were just using me and blah, blah, blah.
And like, what can you say to her though? Yeah. Because like, what are you gonna say?
Right.
You can't really defend yourself.
Yeah, go fucking
sick.
Die.
Yeah, well, like, what do you say? Because everything you say is going to sound like that.
Exactly. So we're kind of at peace or whatever. And then I'm having a chat with this comedian one night. His name is Tom Feeney.
Okay.
And we're chatting with a really good friend of mine. And he's saying, dude, have you noticed all this weird shit has been happening with Sam lately? And I was like, yeah, like what? He goes, well, so she said she had a new roommate that Tom was good friends with. He goes, she said that the roommate stole her rent money, broke into her car and stole her rent money. But I talked to the roommate And she said that Sam had locked her keys in the car, so they both smashed the window of the car. So she's like, she lied about that.
Mm-hmm.
And there was all this other stuff. And he was like, just shit is not adding up.
Yeah.
And he
she's
goes,
just acting shady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I go, do you think she's faking cancer?
How did you come to that?
Because there was so many other lies.
Because someone you know and trust and you love.
Yeah.
It's like, no.
Yeah. Well, so here's the crazy thing is like maybe like 6 months earlier, something had come up about one my roommate, actually, a really good friend of mine, had a chat with her where she was like, do you really have cancer? And
wow.
Sam told me that, like, annoyed. And then I went to bed that night, like, for some reason I had this thought where I was like, what if she doesn't have cancer?
Right.
And then I immediately felt guilty and shut it off.
Dude,
and then didn't think about it again for 6 months.
That is such a horrible thought to entertain.
Exactly.
Even if you have a plausible reason, because like you as a good person, you're like, no.
Right.
There's something's not adding up. Yeah. I'm not a piece of shit for thinking this.
Yeah.
But God forbid you're wrong.
Dude.
You know what I mean?
So this group chat starts
God,
with
it's such a is that selfish? Is that selfish?
Dude.
To be like, well, what if I'm wrong?
Yeah.
What if I'm right? And then you're like, you're just like talking about your friend's sickness here.
Dude.
You know?
So this group chat starts.
And not to mention, this is just us chatting about it.
Right.
I can't imagine. Like I said, I've been very lucky to not have anyone I love come to me and say, I have cancer.
Right.
And I can't afford to take care of myself.
Sure. Yeah.
So like, I don't know what that's like. And how and how hard it is to be like, well, what if she's fucking kidding?
And here's the other thing is like all along she did have these eccentric stories, but her whole thing, she had it covered perfectly. She was just like, well, this is just the way I am, you know. I'm like, I get kind of, you know the way I am. I just tell stories. I'm loud. I'm eccentric. I'm whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And plus, like, if you think about it, like, how often do you like? She did have these crazy stories, you know, all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I'm not really a good listener. You know what I mean? Like for me, it was just kind of like, so she'd be telling me crazy stories, and I'd be like, oh yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Probably. Like I'm half listening, kind of like, another one.
Of course,
another one for the Sam files, you know. But yeah. So like, a group chat starts with like 11 comedians or whatever in the area in Orlando, and we're just like, yo, what the fuck is going on with Sam? And we all start throwing out information.
Yeah.
And like
you got like the pins and like the fucking string.
It was
everything
such a
is
crazy web, because what she would do is she told one person, this girl Heather, she said, oh, Sean came to chemo with me. And then she told me, she was like, oh, Matt came to chemo with me. So as it turns out, she shaved her own head and she was faking cancer the entire time. Didn't have cancer. She has this thing called histrionic personality disorder, which makes you like a blatant, like you exaggerate and lie, and then shit gets out of control and whatever.
And that's like she has a legit diagnosis of that.
I read it. And
I mean, it was like I guess no. Don't get me wrong. Anyone
dude,
that is in the mindset of faking cancer,
it was.
I mean, there's something off.
Here's the thing. It was like I read the symptoms for it, and it was like I was reading her fucking bio. You know what I mean? Like it was like
fakes cancer.
It just said fakes cancer named Sam. So
holy shit, man. So you guys, it all adds up. You guys all realize like, no, dude, she's lying.
But not only that, we've thrown everything out, like all the stuff that she said over time. So we're like, what the fuck are we gonna do? So
what do you do? Because like, what do you can't like? It's not like you can press like what you don't press chart. Like what do you do? Like you fucking. I mean, you want your money back?
Yeah.
Like, are you the only one that gave her money? You know?
Yeah. But then it's like that seemed like such a long game, because like for fucking 2.5 years we were friends. So for like, and you know, she was crazy generous with like fucking buying like lunches and all that shit beforehand. You know.
Yeah.
Well, so here's what we decided. We decided someone had to confront her. And that person was me.
And how did you come to that conclusion? Like, well, you know,
I knew her the best. Yeah. So are you
angry?
Was like at the time?
Yeah. Like when
more
like at this moment, like of you going like, oh great, I got to go confront one of my best friends.
Yeah. I was more shook.
Yeah.
I was more kind of like, what the fuck, you know?
Right.
And then I was also
that's a
like
special kind of crazy, man.
I was also like kind of doubtful. I was like, I'm still not 100% sure that she's faking cancer, you know? Like, I don't want to be right.
Yeah.
That's why, you know?
Right. And then you're also saying, I want her to be sick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like
exactly.
that's such a mind fuck for you, man.
Yeah. So I text her. I was like, hey, do you want to come into the gym? Because we were like kind of on better terms at this point. Not great terms, but okay terms, you know? Well, so I text her. I'm like, hey, do you want to come in? I'm working. If you want to swing by the German place and grab lunch or whatever. She shows up, fucking shaved head and all. And I was like, hey, look, there's a lot of stuff that's not been adding up. I go, and I mentioned the car thing.
Mm-hmm.
And she was so quick on her feet. She always had a fucking answer for everything. And she's, and like at one point she goes, well, so what, do you think? So you think are you saying you think I'm faking cancer? Like, she was so angry about it. And I was like, look, I'm not saying that. I'm asking, and at one point I showed her the histrionic personality disorder thing. She's like, I know what that is, Sean. And I was like, listen, I'm just saying. It all seems to kind of, I showed her the wiki page. Yeah.
That's fucking hilarious. It's like, yes, I know.
Right.
You're not the first person that has showed me that page.
Well, so here's the crazy thing. She had this like almost reverse Make-A-Wish thing where she was like, everybody gets to do one thing with me of their choice before I die, right?
God.
So I go, hey, you remember that thing you were talking about? I want to go to chemo with you.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that's the thing, is like, that seems like the easiest way to...
Right.
Because you're like, let me take you to chemo, and I want to sit with you.
Yeah. So she goes, oh, you want to go to chemo with me? Okay, fine. You can come to chemo with me. It's at 7 a.m. though. And I was like, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking love mornings.
Yeah. I'll get a cup of coffee.
I do not. She knew it was my weakness.
Yeah.
And I was like, absolutely, let's do it. 7 a.m. Boom. On Monday, right, let's go to chemo. And because her whole story about that was, she was like, she'd say one person went, she'd say another person went, and she was like, look, I just don't want, her lie about that was like, I don't want people to see me like in weakness.
And the thing is, that's like an understandable thing.
Right, it would be, yeah, it would be.
But then to tell someone that, oh no, Sean took me. It's like,
that's the
why don't you just say my mom?
Right.
Or like, why don't you make up like a person?
Yeah,
that
exactly.
You don't, I mean, what a bad liar.
So, but there were so many lies, man.
Because you can because it's easy. Just like, yeah, my brother took me or whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And you never would have questioned that, you know?
You'd be like, okay, I'm sure he did.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So what ends up happening is...
well, I mean, like, I know comedians are supportive, but man, like, I don't know. I feel like I would turn to family before I turn to comedian.
Right.
But then again, I don't know. Some people don't have a support.
She wasn't even a comedian.
I feel like I'd ask my brother before I asked a comedian to take me to chemo.
Right.
I don't know.
Who knows?
But then again, that's the thing, is like, that's the mind fuck of it all. Is like, if she's really sick, I mean, who knows what, like, you don't know what's going through that person's mind, you know, like how to, you know, I don't know. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah. I think she didn't even say 7. I think she said it's at 5 a.m. or something.
Yeah, it was something absurd. It's like, you know, because that's a normal time.
Yeah, right. So
I don't know anything about cancer treatment.
I don't either.
I don't think you're sitting in chemo at 5
a.m., right?
I feel like that's like a pretty general procedure that's like a 9 to 5.
So I threw it into the group message, and one of the girls knew someone who worked in the department at the hospital, and she was like, chemo doesn't start till 9 a.m. here.
Yeah.
So I was like, boom, she's lying. She fake cancer. And then...
Did she lie to her employers too?
She lied. Yeah.
It's like, how do you work in a hospital and then say, I gotta go to chemo?
So here's the crazy thing. She was never a nurse. She was a nursing student. She told me that she was head of like trauma and triage or something. She was a nursing student the whole time.
My God, dude.
She told me a story about killing a patient or something.
Jesus
Accidentally
Christ.
killing a patient. Never fucking...
Holy shit.
Yeah. Never heard anything more.
Oh, no, that's real. That's some real shit. Whatever you diagnosed her as, that's real.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, this is crazy. She told me, because we started uncovering all these lies.
Because here's my thing. Hearing this, I'm thinking, okay, so she had a falling out with you, whatever you want to say, and she's mad at you.
Yeah.
So she's like, I'll just fuck with him. That's crazy. But it's like, I can kind of like, I can see where she was going with that. It's like, I was trying to fuck with this guy that, You know, because some people act like that when
Right.
they're rejected or whatever. Oh no, and I guess
But she was fucking with a lot of people, man.
But that's the thing is like, then you start, and then she's including everybody else, and she's
Right.
been lying to you this whole time, just
Yeah.
about her like day to day before she got sick.
So she told me when she moved.
See, this is why you should have surprised her at the hospital with flowers and shit.
So, oh shit, that's crazy, right? So
Because
one
I'm
time,
thinking like if you just gone out of your way to make an impression on her, you probably would have noticed. all
dude,
these-
at one point she was admitted to hospital. She had like some fucking dizziness or faint or something, like, you know.
Yeah.
And she was admitted to hospital.
and that was like a real thing.
She's
She was
like, my
actually in
mom
the
just
hospital.
drove me to the hospital. I had to go here, and I live. She's like, don't visit me, whatever. And I was like, she goes, I'm in the hospital right now, blah blah blah. I was like, okay, cool. I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna go see her. So I walked down to the hospital, and I asked if she was there. I checked here, I checked the other, and no sign of her at the hospital.
Wow.
So I texted her. I was like, hey, I walked down to the hospital. They said you're not here. And she was like, I said, don't come see me. And then she goes, I was at the other department. I was with my oncologist. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
so she lied about that hospital visit too.
Damn,
Here's
dude.
some of the crazy lies. You're going to love this, right? She told me that she grew up in Camden, New Jersey, which is like a notoriously dangerous part of New Jersey. She's like, I grew up in Camden and I moved to Orlando when I was 16. I found out she was actually born in Houston, Texas, and moved to Orlando when she was 9 months old,
Jesus
which
Christ,
is crazy. Here's what's crazier. Entire time I knew her, she had a fake New Jersey accent. 2.5 years.
Whoa.
From the day I met her.
Holy shit, man.
She would say shit like coffee and the dogs and shit.
Oh
Yeah. Because you're like, I get super New Jersey when I'm angry. I'm like,
Oh
what the fuck?
my god!
Whole
And it was
backstory.
kind of cute. You were kind of into it.
Right. It was like, well, it was, you know, it was just a fact about her. She was from New Jersey, you know? The dog at the top of the fucking building never died, never existed.
Oh my
Dog
god,
never
man.
existed. She set up the whole fucking, I don't know if it was a fake text or if there was no
Or
text.
she just looked at her phone.
Yeah,
and was like,
exactly.
Like,
Whatever
I'm in
it
Ireland.
was.
I'm in Ireland right now. I'm gonna
Yeah.
waste this week because I
Right.
gotta fucking. That is fucking
Dude,
crazy, man.
She made up a fake sister.
Oh my god.
A fake sister that she hated. Yeah. Hated this guy. A fake twin sister that she.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
You make up a family member,
Yeah.
like, even in your imagination. Wouldn't you make up the best people ever? Oh my
Dude.
god, she's the sweetest, the best
Dude.
sister. you get. She drives me to chemo.
Yeah, no, this girl, she used to refer to her as a cum receptacle.
Holy
Because
shit.
she also had a made up husband and 7 made up kids.
Oh my god, dude.
Yeah.
That is almost as crazy as the cancer shit because
Dude, I will say of this whole thing, one of the most eerie things I ever looked at was I saw a family photo, and when I saw it and the other sister who didn't exist wasn't in the photo, that was a moment where I was like, fuck, you know?
Mhm.
This bitch lied about everything.
Yeah, man. Is that even
Man.
her family?
Yeah.
It's like, Jesus, man.
I had
That
a
is crazy. So how do you, okay, so knowing all this now,
yeah.
I mean, I think I've got us all off track there, but
Right.
so you guys, you confront her,
Yeah.
and does it come out? Like you showed her the diagnosis?
There was that, and basically how we left.
So how do you, cause now you know all of this shit about
Yeah.
her. I mean, does it just all add up?
Yeah.
Or where does this shit,
She checked herself into a mental institute that night.
because you called her out on her shit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like how we left things was, okay, I'll see you in chemo. That's how we
Yeah.
left things, and then she checked herself into,
Okay.
and then it was like, oh, okay. Well,
Okay.
so it was all, yeah. And
So basically she by doing that,
Yeah.
she admitted to all of the lies.
exactly, and then like she cut herself off from everyone, and there was like,
Man.
there was a text along the lines of like, I just want you to know that like the time that we spent together or like hanging out, you know, my feelings for you were real, or how I like basically along the lines of separating the time that we spent together from all the lies that she told or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously she wasn't like reaching out looking for friendship.
Right.
She paid
just
me
some closure, some sort of like.
she paid me back all the money.
Hey.
Yeah, every last.
I mean,
bit.
yeah. I mean that. I mean, shit.
Right.
Like I mean, like, cause how do you?
Yeah.
Like how do you go? Oh, also about that $4,000.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, clearly you're going through some shit.
Right. Well, I'm gonna need that money. I met her. I met her parents afterwards.
Money, man. Oh, you met. This is the first time you met the parents.
Yeah, because
after all this.
Oh shit! I never even told you this part. So the whole time I knew her, she told me that the reason that they moved from New Jersey is her dad had ties to the mafia.
Good God!
And that he changed their last name. That their original last name was Cascaselli Trignano.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah. But there was, that's the thing is, sometimes there would be a hint of truth in like, that obviously wasn't true.
Yeah.
But then one time I was on Facebook and there was like a Caselli Trignano or something with someone's name on it, you know?
And
so there'd be like elements of, she would take something that could be traceable. Mm-hmm. And then that was the fucking lie or whatever.
Damn.
Yeah, so I thought her the whole time her dad had like ties to the mob or whatever, and he was like,
so when you met him, you were like,
super sweet, just a regular dude, just a good dad, you know. But it was really weird because I met the parents. What happened was we had to pack up all our stuff at the house.
Yikes! And you got to be there for that.
Yeah.
Or were you just waiting around for the money?
No, we had to do it because like she was moving out of the house. Her parents had to come get her stuff. She was in hospital or whatever. You know? She was at home maybe at this point, I don't know, but her parents came to pick up the stuff. We packed it all up for me and a couple other comics, and the mom was like clearly just distraught, right? Not crying, barely crying.
Because does she treat her family the same way? I mean, I'm sure they've been lied to. I mean, does it matter? I mean,
yeah,
like you can't really like say I'm only lying to these comedian friends because they're friends, but.
Right.
You know, I don't see them at Christmas, you know?
No, well, see, obviously the lies wouldn't really work on her family.
I have his twin sister, mom.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So she had no idea about the cancer, I'm sure. So this is just all just like...
she made up a whole thing about being a stripper, too, and all this stuff. But yeah.
Well, you wanted that one to be true.
Yeah. But so when I met the parents, it was crazy, right? The mom was clearly like heartbroken and didn't really want to engage us or whatever, you know? Just hurting. And then the dad was a very insightful man, and he was just saying like, I don't know what it is. He goes, there's some elements of this on my mom, on her mom's side of the family, and there's some elements on my side of the family that certain people have this, and whatever it is, everything just fucking glooped and latched on to Samantha. She got all of it.
Wow.
And he goes, the saga continues or something, and I go, and I said, so this isn't the first chapter? And however he says it, he just goes, just another chapter in the saga. So shit like this had happened,
holy
I think,
shit.
before. But this seemed to be there was probably a big blow up years earlier. And then, so.
And how long ago was this? 5 years ago?
No, this was 2.5 years ago.
That's it?
Yeah, when I found out.
When all this shit. Damn, dude.
Yeah. So that's that. Yep.
Oh, man. Crazy shit.
Yeah, I definitely had trust issues for a while.
Yeah. And like, how do you go into another relationship? Like, look, you don't understand. Just give me like, you know.
Even friendships. I'm just I was just more wary of people, you know?
Right.
Like, what's your fucking deal, you know? What are you fucking telling
me? What
are you spoofing about, you prick? Yeah, so it was crazy, and there's so much other stuff. She made up pet animals aside from the dog. Told me about her pet ducks, Isaac, Clarence, and Truman. Never existed.
Oh my god, man! That's crazy.
Yeah,
shit.
All just lies upon lies, and like no lie too big or too small.
Yeah,
didn't matter.
Well, clearly, ducks to cancer, man. She's lied about it all.
She lied from the very start. That's the crazy thing, is just the way that she was so good at like manipulating and keeping people at just enough a distance. Like she told Heather, a friend of ours, that I call her a fat cow and shit. And Heather knew, or like she knew that Heather would never bring that to me so that I could fucking deny it.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But
so now she just thinks that you're just this dick.
But she puts just enough a wedge between us to where
you don't talk about it.
Right. So she's
dude.
Real clever,
crazy,
real
man.
clever
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, she
Wow.
fucking.
So so you're in New York now. So no real. I mean, do you keep in touch with all the Orlando people? Do you guys have like a reunion? Do you?
Yeah, we don't have a
Like a
cancer reunion. But
I mean, you like, do you guys all get together once a year and like, you just open a bottle of like whatever Jameson's or
we have an experience that we all shared, which were kind of
yikes, yeah, man.
Yeah, but some of them are
some real
out
shit
in LA now. A couple of them are still in Orlando, and then some are out in LA now. So yeah,
dude.
Yep.
Well,
and one guy.
glad.
Oh, here's the worst part. There was a comedian that she
Gets worse
Yeah, there was a comedian that she was dating
during all this. Like toward the end of that shit.
The last couple of months last 2 months until the faking cancer thing emerged would have been like February 2016, and so they obviously immediately he like cut ties with her or whatever, and then he died like 2 months later, accidental overdose.
Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah. Yep.
Hey.
So he was a good man. But yeah, so that's not a fun way to end it, but facts are facts.
Well, anyway, you gotta. What do you got? You got anything you want to promote? I guess or whatever. I mean, you got your tour in Ireland coming up. You got I don't know. What you got? Website or where can people find you? I mean, this shit. I mean, I have listeners in Ireland. I don't know if you know this.
Oh, you do, man. I have a podcast and I don't have listeners in Ireland. Check out the podcast. It's fun. It's me and another Irish guy, Colin Tyrrell, just talking.
Hell yeah.
Talking.
Check it out, man.
Yeah, it's fun. We open with a radio sketch.
It's on iTunes and all that.
Yeah, it's on everything.
Cool.
And we're not afraid to go for it. We have some fun ass
good
conversations about.
That's fun, man.
Yeah, our slanted view on
At the
world.
very least, you'll get to hear two amazing Irish accents.
We're like liberals who hate liberals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We just want to be able to say whatever we want. So we're not afraid to let loose. We have good
fun,
shit,
man.
So that's called Smack Me Bitch Up is the name of the podcast. And then Twitter and Instagram is at Sean Finnerty, SeanyFinnerty.
Sweet. And do you have a website?
Yeah, it's SeanFinnertyComedy.com.
There you go. And I'll put links to all that shit on all my social media.
Dude, I
stuff.
appreciate it, man. Yeah, that's awesome.
Good stuff. Well, there you have it, Sean Finnerty. And if you ever get the chance to see or meet Sean, just be real honest.
Don't be lying, you bollocks.
Don't lie about that shit. Just be real honest. Thanks for doing the podcast, buddy.
Absolutely. Cheers.